Maturity. That's the one way to describe this performance by Kaizer Chiefs. It's a word that you don't use usually with Kaizer Chiefs. 3 clean sheets shows maturity, especially for a team that conceded so many goals last season. There's a maturity in knowing that you did something wrong and fixing it within the game is something we don't see with Kaizer Chiefs. The subs they made at the beginning of the second half was so great. And we don't normally see that because we usually see panic subs towards the end of the game when you're chasing. Maturity is not getting caught up in the game and finding yourself playing pound for pound with a team that's not playing pound for pound, with a team that is not in a position when you're 1-0 up to play pound for pound with you and actually controlling a game. It's a maturity that I guess I haven't seen from Kaizer Chiefs. This time last season, we were going crazy over full stadiums and 4-1 wins over Marmokalans. But to be able to go 1-0, to score 1 goal, to do what you need to do and go home is not something that Kaizer Chiefs does. Now, it's not a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination. But you have to win these games where the other party is not really coming to the game. These are games that we used to struggle with. Maybe Richards Bay hits us with a sneak counter-attack and they win the game last season. But these are the tough games that you need to win. Now, when we get into the actual game, I think starting with 3 centre mids was very interesting from Kaizer Chiefs. Starting with Ndlovu, Cele and Mthethwa. I don't know if that was the right choice. And when I saw the 3 players, I was thinking to myself, okay, are we trying to do an early Liverpool Klopp type of thing where you have an extremely hard-working midfield with Ndlovu, whose sole job is to go out and win the ball and cut the time between the attack, cut the time between us having it in the attack and playing up the ball, and just playing out balls to the top and allowing those guys to be cover, straight cover. So if you think about Wijnaldum, Henderson, and Milner, it was a very hard-working midfield that was essentially put there so that you could play fast. If you listen to what Coach Ben Khalil said at the beginning of the game, he said that they want to play a little bit faster. They don't want to hold the ball as much as they had been previously. They want to take advantage, knowing that Richards Bay is going to be sitting in a low block. They want to take advantage of the pace of their attack, the chaos that they bring. So I thought having those midfielders in the game was going to be a way to shortcut. Hamba Munyane, Hamba Cross, Hamba Shabalala, go up front, and we are going to just cover for in case something happens, right? That's what I thought. So I was a little bit surprised to then see some of the old Chiefs patterns coming up. So Utlele is probably our best deep-lying ball progressor, somebody who gets the ball from the back, who can link to the center, right, to the attack. Sorry, can link from the back to the attack, right, from a deep space on the field, right, from the 6-ish area. Minang Mangele, when I see Mthethwa is the one who's picking up the ball, and Mthethwa for some reason this season he can't find a pass. He can't find a simple pass, and he keeps losing the ball in very weird ways. So it was very weird to see him bringing up the ball a lot of the time. And when I say bring it up, it was mostly a back pass. And not having Abo Cele, Ndlovu available to come pick up that ball. They did do a little bit better in the second half. It was very weird to have 3 centre mids and not have cover for the defense. So I said in the show, the live watch along, that if you want to beat Kaizer Chiefs, you have to take advantage of the spaces left by Cross and Munyane when they push up. Cross has now become a left wing back outer side, and Munyane is sort of like an underlapping right back who allows Glody to be wide and he follows up. So they leave a lot of the time. And if you can isolate Aiden McCarthy, similar to what you do with Dortley, what you do is you're trying to get Aiden to give you a yellow card, or you're beating Aiden so that you can bring Miguel across, because Miguel doesn't have spatial awareness of the players that are around him. So he sees the ball, you've beaten, he goes to the ball, there's nobody covering behind him. And if you think about the Supersport game where Saile scored versus Chiefs, that's the type of thing that you do when you're attacking. So we saw that there was a yellow card, he got injured, he went off. I think Dudley was a very similar thing. So it's a pattern there that you need to work on, and you can't have all of the midfielders there, and you don't have enough defenders there. When you look up top, I still feel like Chiefs needs a lot more coordination, because you took Ndlovu and you made him sort of a 10, but then he was playing next to Shabalala, and Ndlovu has more of a presence. He wants to influence the game. He's got an engine similar to Umart, and I think that was overshadowing Shabalala a lot of the times, especially because Chiefs was laboring to get the ball up top. You look at Lilepo on the side. I don't mind wing play, but you have to have an end to the wing play. So I said also on the watch along that the best way for me, you have to see something repeated, and I would say find the byline, put the ball top of the box. Sereno can shoot. It was similar to some of the goals I think Mart scored last season. Rather do those things that you can keep repeating over and over and over again, right? What was interesting is that Ricahrds Bay is sitting back defending very deeply. And what I dislike about the low blocks, the PSL, is that they're not coordinated low blocks that are there to absorb pressure and trigger at some point. The smaller teams tend to play in extremes. It's either they're defending all the way deeply or they're attacking all the way. And I feel as though Ricahrds Bay could have maybe gotten something from that game if, again, they'd coordinated some of the attacks. Maybe that's where they're going to miss Nsundwana. I don't think he was the best player on the wing, but at the very least, Umunyani would have to think twice, and he'd have a physical fight on his hands, but also a spatial fight of having somebody in your space, so you can't go push up as much as you want to. And Butuma would have been great for a central presence that maybe makes Abu Aiden think twice about going out to go and meet danger, right? So Ricahrds Bay didn't have a plan of what they were going to do when they got the ball. And this is frustrating. I speak of the script of the PSL when smaller teams play. And they defend. It's either they concede at right before halftime or just after halftime, and then they attack fully instead of maybe in the first half beat defensive but attack every now and then just to jab at Chiefs to make them think about who they're throwing forward. Similar to what Stellenbosch does, similar to what Kukune seems to be doing. And then in the second half, you can then manage what you need to do. But where I say it's a very mature thing that Kaizer Chiefs did was at halftime. I don't know if this was tactical nuance that they saw, tactical something that they saw, but bringing on Nobo and Sereno was actually a great move because, as the script goes, the smaller teams start the second half hot. And you have to manage about 15-20 minutes of them going at you. You saw Ricahrds Bay pushing people forward. And because they were pushing so many people forward, as I was saying, the balancing act, they were pushing so many people forward, it opened up space for Chiefs. And where I criticize Ricahrds Bay is, again, I said this in the Stellenbosch game and why Stellenbosch is such a great game for Chiefs. The Chiefs players love spaces. But more than anything, they love to transition where it can be a 4v3, where you can bypass. So the moment you start pushing more players forward, you actually help Chiefs twofold. Number one, you stop Mtetwa having to build up the ball. You stop them having to do that hard thing of trying to push the ball up and play the ball up because they just struggle with that. But then number two, you give Abumdu spaces to come alive. Now Abumdu are off. You give Abu Sirino, Nabongobo spaces to come alive. And we started to see some of that decision making, some of that coordination, some of that again traffic. What do you call it? Leading traffic that Usirino does, where he's got the ball, he's got runners all over the place, and he has to make the choice. And what Ricahrds Bay did when they were pushing people forward was allowing Usirino to have a little bit more time on the ball to make better decisions. You look at the left-hand side. I was told during the live by the guys who are watching, incredible show, that the left back, Ricahrds Bay, is somebody who's just been promoted from the DDC. So you also started to see Munyani no Lilepo coming closer to each other. and trying to isolate that guy. So this is why I'm saying that this is a maturity that I had not seen from Kaizer Chiefs, because that's not what they do. But the third pillar and the last pillar that I want to speak about is then the management of the game after that. They didn't need to continue accelerating. And I'm going to give the same credit that I give to a Mamelodi Sundowns that scores their 1, that scores their 2, and then they just sort of play the game. They know the other side is tired. They know the other side is not going to be coming at them. They start to come together and they play the ball without necessarily needing to go forward and go score a goal, because you could lose the ball a lot. I liked that from Kaizer Chiefs, to say, okay, fine, guys, this is a tough game. We've scored the way that we've scored. We had chances, we didn't take them. They weren't really good chances, to be honest with you. I don't think they played very well in attack, but we've got the goal. Let's just hold the ball, man. Let's just hold the ball. Let's not do anything crazy. If we see an opportunity, let Lilepo go through on goal. Umfundo got a chance. Like, that is a maturity that maybe Kaizer Chiefs hasn't had. And the maturity comes in the 1-0s, in the 2-0s. It doesn't come in the 4-1s. It doesn't come in the emotions that are building. And I think that is something that you can take as a positive for Kaizer Chiefs. Now, I still feel like the play was not the best. And I feel as though Chiefs, if they can start games better with the way that they set up, I think they can be a dangerous team. But they don't have a starting line. They don't have consistent 7, 8 players that they know week in, week out, we can trust these guys to start very well. Like, maybe in this game, if they started with Serena and Ngobo, they could have seen something different, for example. So if they can get that right, I think that's going to be great, because what tends to happen with Kaizer Chiefs is that they started wrong, they've got the wrong lineup, maybe they concede a goal, that changes the whole outlook of the game, and now they're chasing and we lose. I want to give a shout out to Peterson for another clean sheet. Remember, this is a Chiefs team that conceded more than I believe they'd conceded the whole time. And to be able to look at the first 3 games and have clean sheets. Now, there are caveats to it, I'm not going to lie to you, but these are games that we couldn't keep clean sheets on. We couldn't keep a Richards Bay clean sheet. I believe they beat us last time we played them. And then they finished above us, if I'm not mistaken. So this is more of what I'd love to see. I don't know if Chiefs is over the hill just yet, but they need to use this momentum. Chiefs started very well last season, the first few games, and sort of went off of the burner after that. But like I said, I think the maturity is in beating Richards Bay. That's how you move up in a league. Abo Sundowns, Abo Pirates is one thing, but if you can beat Abo Richards Bay and build and build and build, you find yourself in a 6th and 5th position. What I worry about is that there's a thing in the PSL where everybody has a plan A, and if plan A is not working, it's fine. And that causes a lot of up and down in the league. TS Galaxy wins 3-0 today, they lose 2-0 the next day. The next day by a draw, the next day they've lost 2. Then it's just an up and down of points being shared around teams. If Chiefs can find a consistency there, I think they can do well. But yeah, it's really up to them as to how they're going to continue going from here. The biggest test for me is going to come after the Sundowns game. What happens when you hit the first speed bump? Last season, Chiefs hit the speed bump and it derailed everything. They just couldn't claw themselves back up after an incredible start, right? The confidence took a hit. I wonder what's going to happen after the Sundowns game. Even if they win, it's still a balancing act that you have to do on both sides, because a win makes you think that everything is fine. A loss might take you out of it mentally. But well done to Kaizer Chiefs. 3 games, 3 wins, 9 points. What more can you ask for? Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you on the next one.